Greetings, humans and people. Today is April 10th, and we're recording the second part of... Oh my gosh, could I sound any more bored? No, we're recording the second part of Kirby's Dreamland 3. It's kind of random that there's a block all the way up there and then nothing else, but like, you know, I guess... Oh my gosh, there's like stars and hearts and triangles and moons in this hill. That's so crazy. What kind of ancient civilization could have... These giant kabu heads are so annoying. And like, why do they bark like dogs? It's so bad. No. It's so bad! Game designers, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's so echoey and so like atmospheric. This, I don't know. I've talked about this soundtrack in the last video and how interesting it is, and yeah, I talked about how I was watching Nitro Rad and I'm kind of like, I want to go through all of his videos and watch them at some point, but I don't know. For now, I was just kind of watching his more recent videos and watched his videos on Echo Night, which I'm probably never gonna play the game, but those were some really cool videos. It made the game seem really cool, and I liked hearing him talk about it. Oh yeah, and I've been watching like a Nintendo Capri Sun playthrough for the first time in a really long time. I started watching his playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, which is a game that I know nothing about, but like, oh, I have so many friends that are always like raving about like, oh, the music from Final Fantasy VI is so good, Nobu Uematsu is so good. And yes, I know Nobu Uematsu. I'm not even sure I'm saying his name right. But the dude who did Chrono Trigger with Yasunari Mitsuda, and the dude who did like Final Fantasy, I want to say all the Final Fantasy games on the SNES, but I'm not even sure. I just know that he did 6. Which is also known as 3 in America, or whatever. I'm gonna keep doing that voice and gonna tear my throat to shreds. It's gonna look like a paper cut. No, I'm kidding. I think I had a friend who had strep throat. Anyway, I'm sure we've all had friends who've had strep throat. It's, I don't know, not something I ever want to get. It scareth me a little bit. Great. How are we getting on this subject of conversation? Tomatoes. No, the Maxim tomatoes just look like strawberries. They are triangular. They're not tomatoes, they're strawberries. And besides, I like strawberries better than tomatoes, really. Like, I don't know. Like, fresh tomatoes are good, but like, without salt, I just don't like them. They're too watery. I like avocados a lot, but you know, I have to put salt on them. Salt or like lemon juice or both, or, you know. Yay, monkey. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VI. It's kind of weird that, like, that's my first exposure to the game, and he's naming all the characters after people, like, that he knows. So I'm trying to keep track of all the characters' actual, like, in-game names, like, according to canon, in the back of my head while I'm watching it, like, so that, like, when I talk about the game, I don't sound like an idiot, but I know that his name is Locke, and her name is Tara, I think, and that her name is Celeste, and his name is Edgar, and etc., etc. Seems like a pretty cool cast of characters, I'm not gonna lie. That's the thing that gets me hooked on, like, Japanese RPGs, is, you know, like, actually I'm not sure what constitutes a JRPG versus a Western RPG. Heck, I'm not even sure what a Western RPG is, because, you know, I think RPG, you know, Final Fantasy, Earthbound, all games that came out on Nintendo systems. So it's like, Nintendo is Japanese, Yeah. There's Phantasy Star 4. That's a cool game. You know, that's a game that I'm playing on my own rather than watching a Let's Play of. That is a very cool game. I'm giving it a chance again after I like. That game has a problem with freezing. Like literally freezing if you just like walk around or walk into a corner. Like, I don't know. I think it has just like a lot of RNG to deal with. Like when you just walk around normally, and I'm playing it on an emulator, and maybe it's like freaking out or something. Speaking of freaking out, I was a little freaked out in this section, trying to avoid all the needly guys, but I was a bit freaked out that I didn't like find the secret. So I was like, what do you do? What do you know, Hattie man? I think actually in this level, well, anyway, I'm not gonna say anything. But if you kind of like understand, the secrets in this game kind of have a pattern to them. So like 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, and 5-1 are gonna be similar in certain ways, whereas, you know, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2 are gonna be similar in certain ways. 1-3, 2-3, 3-3. Alright, so basically, I think in the 6th world level of each world, you'll find like a female character version of each character, and it's like, oh, she. Oh, that was only number 5. It wasn't number 6. Number 5 is usually find a female like it's gonna be a female companion for somebody. You know, just bring the right partner to the end of the stage, and I like to leave them at the end of the stage, so you know, so they can be happy together. But you know, we will be seeing Kine again. This is the trick to not die. If you're down to 1 health, you spawn Gooey, eat him, and he'll put you back up to 1.5. So basically, if you're down to 1/2 of a health. Yeah, it's a stupid trick, but there you go. 7 minutes and 47. So anyway, I like this game. That's all. That's all I was saying. No, I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, we got to the room with the secret. Watch out for those spiders. They are spiders. They hang out. They just look like black circles, but then they sprout legs, and it's really creepy. Don't swallow them, because you take damage if you swallow them. I kind of like this big treehouse layout, level layout. It kind of reminds me of something from Superstar. When you say Kirby Superstar, I say super overrated, but that's my opinion, and it probably sucks. Again, with the spider, watch out for them. There's basically just like 3 things that you need to find, and I kept wandering around like a stupid piece of idiot trash. A piece of white trash. No, I don't know. I don't like that word white trash so much anymore, but I don't know. White trash does exist, so gotta call it out when you see it. No, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I have relatives who are definitely rednecks, but I don't go around calling them rednecks. Doesn't mean that, I don't know, they're my favorite relatives. This is a really weird. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. I finished Creeks. Creeks was such a good game. I was using the walkthrough for parts of it. A lot of puzzles I did figure out, you know, kind of on my own. Ditch Choo Choo, just float through the rest of this thing. I did figure out a lot of puzzles kind of on my own, and I did find a lot of the paintings on my own. And then I got 100% by, you know, kind of following a walkthrough for some of the paintings. You know, it is It is a challenging puzzle game without being too challenging. Some puzzle games are just so hard. I don't know if you would consider Braid. Braid is like a puzzle platformer, but in my opinion, that game is too hard. Baba Is You. That's a puzzle game that I've heard is like really hard. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe there are harder puzzle games, but Creeks never got that hard in my opinion. It was just cool. It was so cool. The world was so cool. Get out of here, stupid spider. Kind of miffed that we can't get that tonic because we're about to die. But, those are cavemen that shoot at you. They're fun, I guess. I don't know. They look very strange. They look like they have no face. Get out of here. Thank you for the tonic. Watch out for the spider at the top of the room. This is reminding me very much of some of the forest levels in 64. But of course, this is very much the spiritual prequel to 64. It's very similar in a lot of ways, even though you don't have all the partners. And I love 64. I'd say 64 and Adventure are tied for my favorite Kirby game. At least that's what I've been saying for like the past 5 years or something. Heck if I know anymore. I've been watching some movies recently, but not too many. I watched Anastasia with my parents not too long ago. I don't know if I mentioned that. That was a good movie. That was cool, and it was cool to see Don Bluth worked on it because the animation was just so good. Especially the way that like segments that were clearly animated in 3D, like the way the camera panned over the city in certain segments, and like the things that were clearly 3D, like cruise ships and trains, blending that seamlessly with 2D animation. That was cool from my sort of nerdy point of view. Also, Wispy Woods. The only thing that was like, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's Kelsey Grammer doing a Russian accent. It's like, you know. I don't know. I was surprised that Kelsey Grammer could do such a good Russian accent, honestly. But, you know, obviously, the culture has sort of changed. It's like, oh, you want to cast authentic people, but, you know, they cast Brits as Americans all the time. So if you get all the heart stars of a world, the world gets purged of the darkness, and this cutscene is so long and dramatic that it reminds me of the boss deaths in freaking Desolate Hope. But you only get that if you sort of like fight the boss after you've gotten all of the heart stars. And notice what it does on the overworld map. It gets rid of that little nub. So anyway, I don't know if that made sense, but I love this sort of overworld hub. It's so very dreamy and relaxing and starry.